You know, we always think that having the best facts is what wins an argument. But what if the real secret to persuasion isn't just what you say, but how you make your audience feel? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. How to build that powerful, genuine connection with your audience.
Okay, think about a time you were sitting in a lecture, or maybe watching a presentation online. Have you ever found your mind just completely wandering? Not because the topic was boring, but for a whole different reason?
Yeah, it's often because the speaker felt like they were just talking at you, not actually with you. They just felt distant. And when that happens, even the most fascinating subject in the world suddenly becomes impossible to focus on.
And look, this isn't just some small, minor issue. This is what we call the disconnect problem. And honestly, it's a massive wall that gets in the way of any kind of real communication.
The second your audience tunes out, you've lost. Game over. All your brilliant points, your rock-solid evidence, none of it matters if nobody is actually listening. So for anyone trying to persuade someone, especially a debater, this isn't just a simple mistake. It's a total critical failure. So if being disconnected is the big problem, then the solution is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It's all about building connection. Because when you boil it all down, connection is really about one thing: building trust. Let's just define this so we're all on the same page. Audience connection is that invisible bond, that bridge you build between you and your listeners. It's the thing that makes people lower their natural defenses, trust what you're saying, and actually be open to hearing your ideas. And the secret here is that it's all about simplicity. You don't build trust with a bunch of complicated jargon or by trying to sound like the smartest person in the room. Nope, trust is built when a speaker just feels relatable and when their message is absolutely crystal clear. All right, theory's great, but how do we actually do this? Let's get practical and open up your connection toolkit. We've got 4 super straightforward techniques you can start using like today. First up, eye contact. It shows you see them as people, not just a crowd. Second, a warm tone of voice makes you seem approachable, not intimidating. Third, sharing relevant examples proves you get their world. And fourth, using respectful language. That creates a safe space where your ideas can actually land. These are not complicated, but trust me, they are absolute game changers. Now, let's zoom in on one tool in this kit that's my personal favorite, because it's so simple but so effective. It's all about inclusion, using language that brings your audience right into the conversation with you.
So instead of saying something like, "You should care about this," you shift it to, "This matters to us because," instead of just dropping a fact, you invite them in by saying, "Imagine if you were in this situation." Or, we've all experienced this, right? These tiny little shifts in phrasing change everything. It goes from a lecture to a shared journey.
But, and this is a big but, I've got to give you one critical rule. It has to be genuine. The moment you try to fake a connection or force some kind of emotion, people can feel it a mile away. And that fakeness doesn't build trust, it absolutely shatters it. Being authentic is completely non-negotiable.
Okay, let's see what this actually looks like in the real world. We're going to compare 2 different speakers tackling the same exact topic.
So over here, you've got speaker A, the disconnected. This person just reads facts off a page. They're all about the data. They sound super formal, and they're basically just telling the audience what they should think. But then you have speaker B, the connector. They're totally different. They explain why this stuff actually matters, focusing on the human impact. They sound relatable, and they invite the audience to understand with them.
So, who do you think is more persuasive? It's kind of a no-brainer, right? Speaker B isn't just throwing information out there. They're building that bridge to the audience. And that's what makes them not just more persuasive, but way more memorable.
Okay, enough of me talking. It's your turn. Let's take these ideas off the screen and put them right into practice with a quick little challenge.
So imagine you're in a debate, and the topic is homework. How could you connect with an audience of other students? Maybe you'd start with a relatable story about staying up late, or maybe use an inclusive phrase like, "We've all felt that Sunday night dread, right?" Go ahead and pause here for a second and think of one specific thing you could do.
Awesome. Now, just to make sure these key ideas are really locked in your brain, let's do a super quick 2-question quiz. Ready? Question 1. Why is connection so incredibly important in a debate? Is it A, because it builds trust, B, because it saves time, or C, because it replaces evidence? And question number 2, which of these is a key tool from our toolkit for building that connection? Is it A, a warm tone, B, ignoring the audience, or C, speaking faster? All right, let's check the answers. For question 1, the correct answer is A.
Connection builds the trust that you need for your evidence to even have a chance of being heard. And for question 2, it is also A. A warm, genuine tone is absolutely fundamental for sounding relatable and trustworthy. So if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Connecting with your audience isn't some fluffy, nice-to-have skill that's a distraction from your real argument. No way. It is the very thing that gives your facts and your logic their actual power. So, you now have the foundation for building that essential trust. But once you have their attention and their trust, what do you actually say? Now that you know how to build the connection, are you ready to master the words themselves? The language that truly persuades? We'll get into that next time.